You might be losing $40,000, $100,000, maybe even $300,000. Not from a bad investment, not from a financial crisis, but from things that feel completely normal. A subscription, an upgrade, a payment everyone around you seems to have. Hidden costs steal $300K, and almost nobody realizes it. But here's the strange part. 3 people can earn the same salary, live in the same city, and work similar jobs. Yet 10 years later, one of them is financially free, while the other 2 still feel stuck. Purchases often seem worthy, but aren't. Today, we're going to run the real math on them. Let me introduce you to 3 people. Meet Tom. He is 27. He has a good job and a pretty normal life. Every month, he opens his banking app and thinks the same thing. Where did the money go? Not on anything dramatic, just things that seemed reasonable at the time. A gym membership, a few streaming services, cloud storage, a meal kit he meant to cancel. Nothing feels expensive, which is exactly why it works. Then there's Marcus. Marcus knows about money. He listens to finance podcasts. He invests. He understands compound interest. But Marcus also has 4 software subscriptions for projects he hasn't started. A premium gym membership he mostly chose for the aesthetic. And a car payment he proudly says he ran the numbers on. Marcus believes he's optimizing his finances. But here's the weird part. Marcus is optimizing the wrong things, or nothing at all. And then there's David. David is 54. He drives an 8-year-old car. His phone is 2 generations behind. He takes 2 really good vacations every year. From the outside, David doesn't look rich. But David has something the other 2 don't. Freedom. And the reason comes down to a simple concept most people never calculate. The real price of things. Most people think purchases have one price. They don't. They actually have 4. The first is obvious. The sticker price. The second is the extra costs. These are insurance, maintenance, upgrades. But here's where things start getting interesting. The third price is opportunity cost. What you could have done with that money instead. And the fourth price? This is the one that changes everything. Future value. What that money could become if it were invested instead. And once you start thinking this way, some purchases start looking very different. Take something incredibly common. A car upgrade. Tom's car works perfectly fine. But it's getting older, so he upgrades. The payment? $480 a month. Seems manageable. Now, we run the real math. $480 per month for 5 years equals $28,800. Insurance increases another $80 per month. Now the real cost is $560 per month. Still manageable. But this is where the math gets interesting. If Tom invested that $560 every month instead, for 20 years, at 8%, that money becomes about $330,000. Let that sink in. The car doesn't cost $480 a month. It costs $330,000 of future freedom. But here's the surprising part. The car isn't even where most people lose the most money. Because the real leak today is much quieter. Subscriptions. And this is where things get dangerous. Most people don't have 1 or 2. They have 10, 15, sometimes 20. Streaming services, cloud storage, software, AI tools, apps, premium, upgrades. Each one costs a little. $10, $15, $20. Cheap enough to say yes, cheap enough to forget. Tom's shock. $340. Monthly bill. Tom didn't even know half of them were still active. That's over $4,000 every year. Invested over time? Around $60,000. From things he barely remembered signing up for. But here's the weird part. This isn't an accident. It's design. Automatic payments completely changed how humans experience spending. When you pay manually, your brain asks a question. Is this still worth it? But when something renews automatically, the decision disappears. The charge fades into the background. And companies know this. They're not betting on loyalty. They're betting on inertia. And inertia is extremely profitable. But subscriptions aren't actually the deepest trap. There's something more powerful underneath all of this. Identity. A lot of spending isn't about function. It's about signal. The apartment that proves you're doing well. The car that feels like success. The gym membership that makes you feel disciplined. The productivity system that makes you feel organized. You're not always buying the product. You're buying the person you hope to become. And that emotional reward is incredibly powerful. Which is why it sells so well. This leads to one of the most important ideas in personal finance. Your fixed costs are your freedom score. Every recurring payment is a claim on your future income. Rent, car payments, subscriptions, memberships. Each one seems manageable alone. But together, they form something dangerous. Think of it like a chain. Every new recurring cost adds another link. Car payment, link. High rent, another link. Subscriptions, more links. Link, 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 link. Eventually, you're financially locked into your current lifestyle. And this is where things get dangerous. Because dependence is the opposite of freedom. David understood this decades ago, so he made a choice that looked boring. He kept his fixed costs low, not because he was cheap, because he wanted options. When opportunities appear, David can move. When Tom gets the same opportunity, he has to think about the car, the apartment, the subscriptions, the payments. By the time Tom finishes the math, the opportunity is gone. And here's something most people miss. Financial problems rarely come from the huge purchases. Those force you to think. You hesitate. You calculate. Tom and David meet at a local coffee shop. David explains. The real damage usually comes from medium-sized recurring spending. The ones that feel reasonable. The ones you automate. The ones you forget. The ones you keep, because canceling feels like admitting you made a mistake. 5. Those expenses slowly shape your financial life without you noticing. And by the time you notice them, they've often been running for years. Let's run one more piece of math. Imagine you reduce spending by $500 per month. Nothing extreme, just removing things that aren't actually worth it. Invest that $500 monthly for 25 years at 8%. That money becomes about $475,000. Nearly $500,000. That from decisions that barely change your lifestyle. And this is where the story splits. The first path is the default. You keep everything. Subscriptions stay. Payments stay. Your lifestyle expands with every raise. Nothing crashes. Nothing explodes. You just drift. 10 years later, you earn more money, but still feel financially stuck. The second path looks different. You audit your fixed costs. Once. Ruthlessly. For every expense you ask one question. Is this actually worth it right now? Not someday. Not in theory. Right now. You cut the things that are mostly signals. You keep the ones that genuinely improve your life. And you invest the difference. At first it looks small, but over time, the gap becomes enormous. Because the real question about money isn't what things cost today. The real question is what they cost your future. Every payment is a trade. Your money for a piece of your time. And once you start seeing spending that way, a lot of things that once felt normal suddenly look very different. Because the most expensive purchases in life are rarely the ones that feel expensive. They're the ones that feel reasonable. Your turn.